Greetings, YouTube. This is Brandon Hill here with Terrence Pegasus, and together we are the creators of Wild Space Saga, the epic sci-fi action-adventure series you didn't know you needed. And this is the Wild Space Wildcast, specifically made to tell you exactly why you need it, and as we've been around for a hot minute in relative silence and DeviantArt, what you've been missing. But before we begin, take a moment to subscribe and hit that beautiful notification bell so that you won't miss a single bit of news, events, and live streams from our channel. Whether you catch us live or are watching after the fact, we want you to join us on the Northwest Passage. And finally, if we pique your interest, links to our books available in in paperback and the ebook, as well as everywhere else. You can find us on the social medias are available down in the doobly-doo.
Oh, you're cracking already.
All right, and like thank for those of y'all who are joining us here on the chat. Thank you very much for joining us. Your questions, comments, and remarks are always welcome. And before we get them, just remind everyone about how our books are. We have our first two books here, Between the Devil and the Dark. These are our older versions. We have the updated versions that are available on ebook. And Rapid Redemption. These two
he's on that
ones are available on ebook. That's books 1 and 2, and we have coming this month Twisted Fate, our newest addition to the Wild Space Saga universe. We will probably be doing a read aloud of some of the book later on before we go ahead and have our release date pop up. I believe that's on the 23rd, if memory serves. Let me look that up right quick just to be sure. And give me just.
I'll check, but that would require opening my emails, and I'm too lazy for that.
Hold on. Okay.
So it's the slow come down from being, really, really angry the other week due to my connection issues. But it's been a bit of a funny one because I took my car to have an oil leak fixed, about 3 weeks ago. And they're like, oh, there's an engine light now since we put it together. You're like, well, I didn't have that when you gave it to me, so you were going to sort that out. Oh, yeah, it's the timing. Well, all right. Is it okay to drive? Oh, yeah. Yeah, until yesterday when the limp home mode kicked in to protect the engine because the timing's gone so far out now that it's misfiring. So I'm like, oh, right, that's lovely. You're going to lend me a car? So they have.
All right, so
and squeeze my car in sooner to fix it. So I'm still slightly nonplussed, but it's getting better.
All right, so the release date for our third book is on the 23rd. Unfortunately, I got to work that day. However, I don't have to work Friday, so I'm going to be having a little event that Friday before the release date. I'll give you a little information on that before long. I'll go ahead and get the thing that I'm working on finished before then. But anyway, so we're going to be released on Saturday, the 23rd of May. So I'm sincerely hoping that you guys out there, those of you who are watching the show, those who watched it after the fact, or even watching now, will go ahead and get your hands on a copy of this book. Terry and I worked really hard on it, and I think it really does realize better than even the first two, I think, in scope and expanse and all the things that happen to our intrepid heroes in Wild Space Saga. All right.
I mean, obviously, we're still writing it, but I think Book 4 is going to smash that one out of the water as well.
Wait, what was he saying? Hold on. Why are you that was what he was talking about.
Yeah, I was talking to Finn. Yeah. You see, I actually read the comments, you say.
Hey, I read the comments too. I was looking at something other than the
Yes, but you weren't talking, so I took the chance to get in there quick, because, we know what you're like for talking, so I have to cut you off all the time.
Right. So I guess we can start off. For those of you who have not heard, let me go ahead and read the plot blurb for our third book, just because it's May. Our book is coming out soon. I want to start getting people in that little mindset to come and get our book. So let me go ahead and read the plot blurb. I think we've done this before, but there's repeating. It's been a while. And I want some people who haven't been watching us from catching up with us just now to check it out. This says the fortuitous arrival of Kumiko, a powerful tertiary who has been assigned to protect the newborn daughter of the Felian Empress, and Seth Ramirez, the human envoy to Anrahara, leads Xerxes away from what was intended to be a relaxing trip. Instead, he finds himself ferreting out a dark plot that may destabilize race relations between the normally peaceful Felians and humanity, many of whom have taken Felians as husbands and wives. This leads Xerxes and his reckless crew to join forces, once again with Paige, the captain of the Shadow Star, across the colonies to Zinj, the former capital of the ancient First Imperium, now an irradiated, polluted rock inhabited by an insular people who sell the scraps of their once great cities to survive in their underground warrens, the perfect hideout for the human supremacists of Helix. Will the courageous captain and his crew be able to stop Helix and foil the will of their charismatic leader, or will the already beleaguered alliance have to contend with two powerful enemies? So, good setup for, I think, a really good story. Plus, it takes place on a world that allowed me to expand upon a bit, because Zinj is also in a book that we released earlier on. We had some compilation works done for Wild Space Saga called Tales of Wild Space, and one of the stories was the story we called Her Hand in Mine, which involved a human named Julius Galway and a Thelian girl named Servana. And at one point in time in the history of Zinj, Thelian technology kept that colony alive since the surface became unlivable. It allowed them to build cities underground and be able to thrive. And because this planet thrives on an industry of where they scrap their old cities on the surface for raw materials that they ship off to other worlds. And Julius was a scrap hauler. He met Servana when they were children, and they had to leave after their work was done, which was like routine repair and maintenance of the various of the technology that supports that environment. And then she comes back 10 years later, and to find that their puppy love, I guess you could call it, from their childhood has grown into something a lot more serious. However, Zinj is not one of the most welcoming worlds to other aliens, and so it kind of starts rocking the boat. So you can
imagine it's a planet-sized MAGA rally.
That is, I'm not going to go. But anyway, so yeah. So
I did that just to see what Brandon's reaction would be.
On Zinj, Zinj creates the perfect environment for, especially racist organizations to start growing and thriving. Helix is something that's existed for a long time, but I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail there. I want you guys to read the book. But it does introduce a new character who I've been fleshing out for quite some time, gave me an opportunity to finally bring him to the forefront. And he's going to be a very dangerous new enemy for our intrepid space pirates and mercenaries. Caffeination achieved. So let us go on. So the different books that we have, it allows us to flesh out a lot of worlds, and that's one of the things I would think we both really love about Wild Space Saga. It gives us a chance to expand things, expand the world, expand the universe. I mean, we both love world building. I mean, with the things that we talk about, even just kind of that are Wild Space Saga adjacent, are just our own inspirations. You tell that we love shows that give us that big and really kind of work on that. They have shows like Stargate, shows like Star Trek, Star Wars.
Well, everything's collapsing around me. 1 second.
Yikes! Doesn't sound good.
Even Bowser didn't escape.
If I ever had like a Bowser figurine, I'd want it to sing Peaches.
I mean, to be fair, he's not the only one I've got.
I've
got one on his Mario Kart somewhere as well.
I drew a picture of Bowsette once when years and years ago. I posted on my other DeviantArt page. I think she turned out pretty cool. I might actually do another one, because considering I've actually gotten better at drawing, and she still is kind of a thing. So I might go ahead and try that one day. It turned out really, really.
Yes.
They really need to make her a thing in the Mario Brothers movie. Let's see. I heard there was a few Star Trek mangas made. Have either of you read them? No, I haven't. I don't really read that much Star Trek when it comes to comics. The only Star Trek comic I ever bought or really read was the prequel, the prequel comic leading up to the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, the thing that told the events that led to what you have now. And really, in all honesty, I really think that people should have read that comic, because it makes things a lot clearer. in the movie. The movie tells it in a flashback with Spock when he mind melds with Kirk, but it, it's really really fast paced, blurry, and doesn't really fill in all the gaps. The comic actually takes you through the paces of everything that happened leading up to that moment. That star going supernova, the Romulan Empire being in danger. Nero was a good friend of Spock, and then when his Spock failed to save his world, he became bitter and basically started using Borg technology and cross with Romulan technology to make that ship, which was going to be his revenge on the Federation. And let me see. Yeah, start the countdown. That's exactly what it was called. Thank you.
To be fair, if you actually look at Captain Root's profile picture, they're wearing a Starfleet uniform. So if anyone was going to give us the correct reference, I would have expected it to be them.
I wonder if that prequel comic is worth a lot of money now. I don't know, maybe because the movie actually was well received for the most.
I love this comic. Excuse me while I hawk my crap. Yeah.
Well, no, the reason why is because I have another prequel comic that is actually very much sought after, and it is the prequel to Robotech Shadow Chronicles, and I have both the trade paperback and I have the original releases of all the 4 comics that composed the story. That's how much I freaking loved that comic. I went back and bought the trade paperback when like amalgamated the whole thing, and I also have the entire set of the comics. I know they went fast. I know that they're kind of hard to find now. I'm kind of wondering if they're worth a lot of money. I think they are. I hadn't checked on the price in a while. But I'm kind of glad that. Attest to what fact? What did he say?
To what you're talking about.
Oh, the Robotech one? Oh, liking Robotech? Oh, okay. Hey, another fellow Robotech fan. Yeah, awesome. Terry, did you ever watch Robotech a lot or not so much?
I don't know. There's a lot of this stuff was in the 80s. And I was very young in the 80s. I was born in 82, so I probably watched a lot of it.
I was born in 77, so I remember I have very, very strong memories of Robotech. I used to watch it. I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid, but they kept changing the time slot for the cartoon. It was done in syndication. All
77 was an okay year. I mean, you had Star Wars, but you see, 82, I had Wrath of Khan, so I think I had the better year, frankly.
Wait, 86? Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, no, Robotech was an 80s thing.
No, they're talking about when they were born.
Oh, okay. All right, yeah. So yeah, I was born. I'm the oldest. I'm the oldest out of all my friends. And yeah, so I remember Robotech really, really well. And then I remember back when I started college, I was on a big '80s nostalgia kick, and the internet was still a relatively new thing. And so we were just going online because the college that I attended had the best internet connection, so it was super fast. For a time when still most people had dial-up connections. They had I think a T1 line or something, and so we were able to just probably
status, yeah. Sorry, I was just being Finn's no, because I have a niece and a nephew, so yeah, I'm the weird uncle.
I have no.
What we call in the UK as Uncle Knobhead. He's always the weird uncle that you don't really talk about, and you only tend to want to see at weddings.
I have no nieces and nephews. I was a teacher at one point in time. I don't like talking about that time of my life, but so I had to take care of kids. It's like being an uncle with kids you can't get. You get rid of after a certain time of day.
The time I heard that phrase was when we were describing our dynamic when I worked at St Andrews in the mental health facility. We were saying how I tended to be kind of the big brother role. My colleague Rich was like the dad in the way we sort of interacted. And then we said our ward manager, Michael, he's like that weird uncle you only see at the weddings. And all I heard from the office was, fuck off, I'm not Uncle Knobhead.
It's like how in Japanese, if memory serves, sort of the words that you use to address a woman or a guy, are equivocating to uncle or auntie, but sometimes the word has connotations of being old, and so a lot of people don't like being called that.
for me, uncle also referred to anyone in your family who's not technically a blood relative, but they've been part of the family forever. We used to have a chap. He'd been like the long-term partner of my great grandmother, but they'd never actually married or anything. He was just known as Uncle Jack.
Oh, okay.
You know,
I mean, yeah, got me back to the future back in the 2000s.
the 80s nostalgia kick. It's like it's not just nostalgia for us in that sense. It's we lived it.
Yeah. Okay. So, yeah. I mean, I grew up watching those 80s cartoons that a lot of people are just now finding and realizing. Why are the cartoons they had back then so amazing? You know, we had the ones that we had compared to
mainly because everything was deregulated, so they were throwing everything at the wall to see what sticked and whether it stuck, and whether they could sell the figures to go along with it.
Oh my God! Some of the stuff that a lot of people barely remember from the 80s were some of the most outrageous things.
And most of the ones that failed,
yeah, and the ones that they had some
written
that you kind of wonder. Why did this fail? This was really cool. There was a cartoon, and I think they didn't really get past about 5 or 6 episodes, and I think it was only just those multi-part episodes for a pilot. It was this. It was storyline.
There's 4 or 5 I've come across now where, well, the toy lines were far too expensive and all that kind of thing, or they didn't release them at the right time. Most of them were written by J. Michael Straczynski.
I didn't know that he did a lot of the toys. I know he did Jason the Wheeled Warriors, which is a big
he did loads, and some of them I can't think off the top of my head now. One called the Spiral Zone I'd never heard of.
Oh yeah, I heard of that. That was the one that never aired when I was. I only learned about that a few years back.
He was involved in a couple of other really ambitious ones as well, and obviously the plots were really quite adult as a result.
They made so many of these cartoons back in the day that a lot of them they were aired in syndication for those of us and for those of y'all who are across the pond, if y'all are watching. But that means that and even those who are just kind of young means that they were picked up by various local TV stations. If you were watching a show that was available in one town or one region, means it wasn't necessarily going to be available if you moved out to a region even just a few miles away. And so you were watching a totally different set of cartoons. And I didn't realize that until when me and my parents, we would go out on vacation, especially out to California. We have relatives live out there. And I would wake up on Saturday mornings to watch TV, to TV stations that weren't familiar to me. So I'd just be kind of looking to see what's on. And they had shows that I didn't even recognize, or shows that I'd heard of, but or shows that represent toys that I heard of, and I never I didn't know they did a cartoon of this. But yeah, Spiral Zone was one of those things. There's one that I learned about. I want to say around 10, maybe 15 years ago. It was called Adventures of the Galaxy Rangers, and
Galaxy Rangers, yeah.
I watched that show. I watched some episodes of that show on YouTube and on the internet. And I was like, man, I feel robbed. I don't even know about this show. I never knew about this show. This show's amazing.
I remember that. I remember that one. It was always, yeah. No, I was on a bit of a kick. There's these short videos I was watching about the rise and fall of certain cartoons. And the guy kind of repeats himself towards the end, though. Basically says the same thing in 3 different ways, so you tend to skip it once he gets to his conclusion. But yeah, it was interesting to learn some of the things where they get Japanese studios to do the animation. They really went all out, some of them, So they get the top Japanese studios to do the animation. They get top writers in, and then completely mishandle it. Badly market it. Don't get the figures out in time. One of them, I think the figures didn't come out till 2 years after it aired. So, way to miss the boat.
There was one show that I remember, and this was one that I grew up watching, and I freaking loved the show. And everyone who has watched this show will comment on how really, really well done it was. It was called Mighty Orbots, and it was one of those ones that cashed in on.
Heard of it, yeah.
It was one that cashed in on the transforming robot craze of the 80s, and it was canceled after one season, just short of them releasing a toy line for it. And it found out why. It was because one other toy company, I forget which one, made the claim that it looked too much like their toy. And really they just did that to block them from releasing it because they wanted to release theirs. and they didn't want people to get confused, and it really didn't look that much like
one company would kill one line because they want people to buy the new one, but of course the new one was shit. So you just went and killed your cash cow for your new one, and your new one was crap and no one bought it.
Yeah, it killed an amazing toy line. Some of the stories behind a lot of 80s cartoons are really amazing. With the 80s toy lines, 80s cartoons, the one, because back then they were almost kind of like one and the same.
What was the one where they had the giant horrible creatures?
Oh, Inhumanoids?
Inside the Earth, yeah,
Humanoids. Yeah, now those were canceled because they were way too expensive. Those toys were
huge, weren't they?
They were like twice the size of this thing.
Yeah, I remember they were huge. Yeah,
only a couple of kids that I knew had the toys, and I looked at those toys and like, how did your parents let you get one of these? These were like kids who really, really, parents that were either loaded or very, very permissive. My parents were very, very, very strict on what they'd allow me to get. Not because they thought it was like immoral or something like that. It was just, we weren't exactly a family of means. My parents weren't poor, but they weren't rich either. So,
I rarely got a new figure unless it was a birthday or Christmas. In fact, my very first Transformer was Astro Train. It was for my birthday. Another one, I was in hospital for an operation, so my mum had got me. Do you remember the Headmasters? There was the wolf one.
Yeah.
Wolf wire, I think they call it. She got me that as a present because it was quite a significant operation. So that's how I ended up with new Transformer stuff. Birthday or Christmas. I had 2 proper Ninja Turtles, but they couldn't afford the other ones. So they got me 2 knockoff ones, so at least I had 4.
Oh, God.
You can't blame them, They've only got so much money. They got me 2 proper ones, so I can't complain.
I was... Back then, of course, they even had GoBots and Transformers, and you had kids who had GoBots, and some of the kids had Transformers, and I had kind of had a mixture of both. I really loved the show, and it was one of the funny things about Transformers and GoBots is that you still kind of have that bit of a rivalry, but a lot of the folks like me look at it and think that's kind of silly because if you actually watch the cartoons, they had a cartoon series that connected both. And a lot of people don't remember GoBots, which is a shame because you go back and look at it, and the animation quality for GoBots was better than the animation quality for Transformers. And it had a really good story.
It was Finn because they decided Ninja sounded too aggressive.
Wait, I'm sorry. Yeah, the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, they've known as Teenage Mutant Hero Turtles in there. They even changed the theme tune to say Hero. I learned of Ninja Turtles when the film came out, and I thought, why is it called Ninja Turtles?
Well, if you remember also, when the first Ninja Turtles movie came out, the parents were really up in arms about how violent it was, and so the second Ninja Turtles movie they couldn't do nearly as much in the way of fighting.
I was 7 years old when I saw RoboCop.
Wait, what?
I was 7 years old when I saw RoboCop.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of us were kids when we watched RoboCop.
I think it's the difference in our age. I know we're going on a tangent here, but on our ages back then, that we were made aware a film is a film. So what happens in front of you isn't real. So as graphic as RoboCop was, it never really registered, say, with me or my friends, because all we saw was the cool robot guy with the gun coming out of his leg, shooting the bad guys in a movie.
Not a bad complications because of the situation in Northern Ireland.
Yes and no. It's sort of because we had a lot of the there was a lot of the IRA terrorist activity still going on then with the old bombs in London.
A lot of and that was one of the other reasons why a lot of cartoons from the 80s were canceled or done away with because of the levels of violence. There was a TV series. Now this one wasn't a cartoon; it was live action. Oh, and this one was one of the ones that was done by Straczynski.
Oh, Captain Power.
Thank you, as you knew where I was going.
Yep. I used to have Captain Power wallpaper.
One of my cousins had like several of the toys, and the videotapes. We'd watch the videotapes and play with the toys when we were kids.
I had Captain Power, and it was actually sold. We ever called them a car boot sale. You call them a yard sale. Same thing. But out in the field, basically people selling their crap out the back of a car on a painting table. That's where I used to get a lot of my toys from.
But yeah, I mean that was you watched the show, and I think they have the episodes on YouTube, and that show was amazing, and especially with how well
was involved in that as well.
and how well it blended in with the toy lines and everything like that, because they even had a interactive thing where they had an animated thing that they do with the Captain Power toys, but it was all connected to the show. But parent groups saw that the show was way too violent, or complained that the show was way too violent, and so they canceled it.
I think the remake didn't understand. To me, it felt like the remake didn't understand what made the original great, and the whole point of the original one is it is full social commentary and satire. It isn't meant to be taken seriously as a movie. You can, the dramatic bits are pretty dramatic, but the whole point of it is ridiculously violent on purpose. It's ridiculously gory on purpose.
It's Verhoeven. It's going to be ridiculously violent.
But the thing is, it's all designed for that reason, to take the mick out of those things. But also, it's pointing at, they used Detroit on purpose because Detroit was in a bad way even then, wasn't it? It's bankrupt, corporations, corporate overreach, all of that sort of thing. You think it's still as relevant now, and that's why it stands up. It's not a film whose the actual things it tackles still exist now.
Yeah, back a few years back when they were doing those remakes of popular 80s movies, they just couldn't really get it right because of these directors and people didn't understand what made it so good. I didn't mind the remake they did of Total Recall, but
I just found it boring. That was my trouble. It was dull. So it was a terrible film.
Compared to the original, the original was one of those ones that just kept you wondering, is this real or is this a dream? It would just mess with your head throughout the entire...
Give it time, Finn. Give it time.
Wait, what'd you say?
He said, glad they never touched Back to the Future. Give it time.
No, Robert Zemeckis himself said, as long as he's alive, they will never make
a remake. Give it time. Give it time.
And I honestly think that if they do make a remake of Back to the Future, even if it's good, it will fail. Because the
trouble is, what they're trying to do is a bit like a Matrix Resurrections with it.
I really think that people are going to are going to not want to watch it because they're going to consider making a remake of that one an insult. Making a remake of Back to the Future is like making a remake of Citizen Kane. No one in Hollywood would want to touch Citizen Kane. It's considered the greatest movie of all time. Back to the Future, as sci-fi movies go, is considered one of the greatest sci-fi movies of all time. Any director who ever will bring up the fact they want to make another Back to the Future is just courting death.
I think Back to the Future works not because it's actually got any, serious sci-fi in it, but because it's just enjoyable. It's following, the Doc and Marty through time.
Yeah,
and what happens to them.
Yeah, and the storyline is just so well made. It is like as close to a perfect movie as you can get, and a perfect trilogy. Very little can be said about the trilogy that's bad in any stretch of the imagination.
Well, the thing I actually like is how they recreate the same shot throughout the different years, like introducing Hill Valley, walking into the bar, and you're like, this is technically the same scene as in the last two movies, but in a different era.
And they use the exact same set. I went to Universal Studios where they had the Hill Valley set still there, and
but it's just done nicely. So you've got the 50s, you've got the 80s, you've got the 21st century, you've got the 1800s, and you'll see so many of the shots are set up the same, just in a different way, but it works.
Yeah.
So even though I'm technically watching the same thing in a different era, it's like that's what makes it work. How this, these sort of family crossovers, the McFlys and the Tannens, has been a thing for centuries in a different way or another. What would the Anglo version of Back to the Future look like? Shit, that's what it looked like. Fucking Doctor Who, that is.
By the way, Terry, what were you saying about Matrix Resurrection a moment ago?
What I mean is, so instead of remake something, you make a legacy sequel, you know, which doesn't always work, and it certainly didn't work for The Matrix. The 3 films, quality of Revolutions and Reloaded, yes, is patchy. I still love them. I like all 3, to be fair.
Yeah.
I like some of what they tackle, even if they're not perfect. But it's a good story to keep enclosing those 3 films. We didn't need another one tacked on, you know, a couple of decades later.
I personally liked Matrix Resurrections, but yeah, to me, I will honestly admit that it was unnecessary.
That's why the kind of things I have a problem with. It's like, it worked for Tron Legacy. Yes, it has its issues, but as a Tron fan, I quite liked it. I liked how they kind of approached it. But because that had some mild success eventually, other studios went, well, let's go back to other old properties that haven't been around for 30 years, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's definitely. Like, no. let them be what they are, because people come back to them. Even if you're younger and you don't realise this film is 40 years old, like the original Ghostbusters film, you come to that film and you go, oh, I quite like this film. It doesn't matter its age. It just works as a movie. You don't need an updated version to come along, you know?
Well, Hollywood, what happened with Ghostbusters, the 2016 one, was just a combination of extremely bad decisions, plus, well, something we are well aware of that was going on at the time. And that one was sort of the canary in the coal mine for this kind of crap. But
Hot Tub Time Machine. I've not seen it myself, but
the 2016 one, I've seen it.
No, Hot Tub Time Machine they're talking about in the comments, yeah.
Sorry. I know about it, but I really hadn't watched it.
The only reason I ever took issue with that attempt of a remake was because what I read in Empire when the guy said, yeah, we're doing it, but this time it's girls. And you're like, so your whole marketing point is you just completely gender swapped everything for no actual reason.
It wasn't just that, and that was the whole deal. First of all, the Hollywood, they weren't so much dragging their feet with making another Ghostbusters movie. They were trying to get everybody back on board, and Bill Murray, who is just notoriously really, really difficult to work with, was the only holdout. Dan Aykroyd tried and really just could not get Bill motivated enough to really care about doing another one. All the others were totally for it. Bill Murray was the only one who sat out. So it never went anywhere. And so what happened was that somebody, I think it was Paul Feig, proposed to make another one, just make a remake of it. And because of how things were back then, and I'm not going to go into that again, we made one all female. So
yeah, I'll say I never had a problem with that as a decision as such. It's more that the people who then were picked were not necessarily picked because they auditioned well or anything like that. Oh, you're well known as a female comedian. We'll put you in that place. You know, and you're like, well, that's not actually fair on the actor themselves. Because the only reason you're being made in this film is people recognize you and you're female, and that's what we want to market.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and so but that was the whole deal. What they tried to make everything revolve around. Hey, look at us, we're women.
The
show's entire.
We discussed in a previous episode where Finn said, the girl boss thing, where how have you got so many female characters and they're not all just the generic girl boss type? It's like, well, because I made a character, and then it's like they just happen to be female.
In all fairness, when I watched the movie, I did enjoy it, but the people who hate it. Right. Yeah, the people who hate it, I totally understand why. So don't.
It just was a meh film. It's in that middle bit of mediocre where it's not, oh great, you got to see this, or this is so bad, you've got to see this.
No, it's those ones that no one's
you've got to see this. It's so bad, you'll laugh like anything. No, it's just in that middle bit of, what Root says about the Matrix Resurrections. They had to leave Revolutions open. That's why she goes, oh, will we ever see him again? Maybe one day, because they were, unfortunately...
Well, they did have a lot of...
To get another one.
They had a lot of room to work with in making a sequel, because of the movie and actually because of the video game they made of it, the MMO that they made, because of how the story went. Everything in that MMO was supposed to be canon to the to the story, and one of them was that Morpheus supposedly died or vanished, and so they kind of ran with that. And so what you had in the Matrix, the Matrix Resurrections was a program that kind of copied himself off of.
I have seen it. I didn't think it was very good. I just didn't think it was a very good film.
I enjoyed it.
Never mind.
Pretty good,
I just wasn't overly enamored by it in general.
I didn't like the and I think you could chalk that up to what was going on, of course, in that time. With the way they nerfed Neo, they basically just gave Neo the force push ability, and he just used it, spammed it over and over again. That would seem to be the only thing that he could do. Whereas, like in the first 3, Neo basically became a god, and they so nerfed him and tried to make it all about Trinity, and say, oh, she was the only reason why he had any power, and that was just ridiculous. So
it kind of undermines the whole point of he acted differently because he cared about her. He had all the power, and he could have followed the process just like before. Instead, he went back, which is what the other 6 hadn't done. The other 5 didn't do.
Yeah, I heard they're trying to. They want to make another one now. I'd be open to watch it, but I don't think other people would be. So
I just think the original story had its moment, completed its cycle. That you try to do another one, there's no room for a new story because the story's been told.
Yep. Now, how all that kind of connects to Wild Space Saga is how.
Let's get back on track. You mean after 20 minutes?
No. I'm totally cool with.
No, I know. It's just this is our style, our tangent. It's cool.
Yeah, but I'm just saying this. All this stuff actually is going to tangentially connect to Wild Space Saga because all these things that we talk about tend to be our influence. Because one of the things I like to do when I try to pitch Wild Space Saga is like, think of your favorite TV shows, cartoons, sci-fi TV shows, cartoons, all that.
Yeah, My Little Pony, it's all in there.
Yeah, and this is like kind of us putting all our love for that into this, and even kind of giving some good nods to a lot of the other stuff. Like I always talk about how we loved Jason the Wheeled Warriors, another show that J. Michael Straczynski was part of, and how we put.
Yeah, he was involved with Galaxy Rangers as well.
Yeah, well, it's not quite so much the Galaxy Rangers as
I'm just saying though. That's what I said about those so many cartoons. Out of the ones that failed, the really complex plots. Guess who was involved in them?
Absolutely.
My Little Billion, Risk is magic.
No, you don't want that. That sounds like a. That sounds like
some risk. Yeah.
That sounds like a rule. That sounds like a rule. 63 version of Wild Space Saga, where somewhere we don't really want to go right now.
I don't know. You're the one with the anthro.
I mean, you totally could do that, but don't please. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. It could, well, it's already kind of built in anyway because we have Felian pleasure houses, and but those are there actually for a particular reason because there is a purpose to.
Because Brandon loves writing sex.
Genetically compatible with humans. Very funny.
That's what it is. Brandon loves writing furry sex. That's what it is.
No, I haven't written furry.
He's the Mills and Boone of Felian, pleasure.
I might, if I don't, I might be insulted by that if I knew who Mills and Boone was.
Oh, look up Mills and Boone. They're the old cheesy erotic novels that like little old ladies used to read.
Oh, basically is the trashy romance novel.
Yeah.
They're
published by a company called Mills and Boone here, so it was always like, oh yeah, there's the old Mills and Boone moment,
Oh Lord. Yeah.
But the thing is, the thing is, our references are subtle and some are obvious, as you may have noticed. All the White Akira are named after Toho Kaiju.
Yep. Yeah, for those of y'all who don't know, and this is a plug for what Terry's been working on, go to Instagram, Wild Space Saga, and remember we do have links to all our social medias down in the
and this YouTube channel. I have all the songs on here, so you can listen to all our lore songs about all different characters.
Yep, we do also have it on YouTube, but I was trying to plug your Instagram too, man. Come on now.
You can plug the Instagram, but most of the Instagram just refers people to YouTube, so you know.
Oh God.
It does at the moment anyway, because of the music projects, of which there is another one coming. I know I didn't do one this week, but that's because I've been busy working on the new one, which the background music is again a part of.
But what I was trying to say about the music thing is that
I like taking him off track. Yeah.
Anyway, what I was trying to say about, dude, I'm trying to plug you. You're derailing yourself.
Love you, Brandon.
You're derailing yourself.
So derailing myself. I know what I'm doing.
What I'm trying to say about Terry's work is that when he was referencing the White Akira, is that it's something we've been doing and these characters are going to be in the next book. But he's been making like various like little music bits that talk about them. They all are named after Toho kaiju monsters, so they're going to be a big deal in the next book. And that one is what do you call it?
Tech support.
Tech support. Thank you. Yeah, Because
it involves our diminutive tech tanks quite heavily, and I couldn't think of a better name, so tech support became the name.
Hey, that's cool though. I like that because it does kind of fit things in really nicely with the tech tanks, and it also involves a side plot with that involve Zerx and Paige, and also Maria and Artemis having to deal with some tech that kind of runs amok. Let's just say that there are things that are starting to insinuate themselves into this universe that humans are messing around with, and they shouldn't be messing around with it.
So we covered it in previous stream about how there's been, something that's happened millions of years ago, an extinction level event because of a quite nasty race, and there's still relics left. And you know what humans are like when they find things like that? They don't leave well alone. They poke and prod, and let's find out how this works.
Now,
and of course, they then don't think about the consequences. They go, "Oh, we made it work. Let's build it into something."
Fortunately, there's a race that was around back during that extinction level event, which happens to be the only race. Well, actually, only other race that was around that survived it, and they're doing things in the background that are trying to help the human race, and it is connected to a connection between humans and Felians, which will be slowly revealed as the story progresses.
So it can justify that sexy time he writes.
Anyway, it's done in a manner
similar. Brandon.
It's done in a manner similar to how J. Michael Straczynski reveals the shadows in the Babylon 5 TV show. For those of you who've never watched Babylon 5, first of all, go watch Babylon 5. That is an order. Trust me, it is not considered.
Look where I stole all my ideas from.
It is not considered one of the best sci-fi TV series ever made for nothing. But the way that the big enemy in that show is revealed bit by bit as each season progresses is a stroke of literary genius. How all that happens, and I especially love one of those moments where you meet one of the ancient races that had to contend with this enemy a long time ago, and one of the characters, I forget who it was. I think it was. I want to say Ivanova. I can't remember. Ran into one of them, and then when she asked Jakar, was the Narn ambassador, like, what was that? So he sees a little ant that's on this little flower, and he picks up the ant on the tip of his finger, and then he puts it back, and he said, now the ant's going to say, what was that? And starts talking about how there are races out there that are far, far older and far, far more powerful than any of us. And is it are they even aware of us? Maybe, but to them, we're like that little ant. And so I'm both terrified and actually comforted by the fact that they are out there. And this is kind of like what you have to deal with what you're dealing with when you deal with the shadows in that series. They're incredibly ancient and incredibly powerful, and this is what you're going to have to deal with, in a sense. In Wild Space Saga. I will give you a clue, however. But those of you who do love your 1980s cartoons, watch a TV series like I told you earlier. I mentioned it, Jason the Wheeled Warriors. That is a very big inspiration for us, and especially the creatures called the monster minds. If you understand the monster minds, you're going to understand what we're trying to get at, in a sense. It's not exactly like that, but
no, we don't have Sawboss as the big bad, but
actually, I think if you think about the monster minds, and maybe if you go to X-Men and think about the Phalanx, a little bit like that. I did see that last thing that you posted there, Finn. Morning Glory milking farm. All right, what you described either earlier, Brandon, was numinous. What are you talking about? You talking about the thing about Jakar talking about the ant thing? I don't know what you're talking about there.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I've lost track. Remind us, Finn.
Yeah, I mean, I was describing.
He was mid-flow. You know what he's like when he's babbling.
Oh, okay. If you're talking about the creature that they ran into, the one that Jakar was describing using the ant. Bringing in all of the shadows. Well, what she ran into wasn't one of the shadows. It was a member of the older races. If you remember in Babylon 5, you had older races that were out there, and the Borlons were one of the older races. They were the youngest of the older races, and the shadows were the oldest of the older races. And they had their philosophies kind of started diverging to the point where they just became enemies. But they had other races that were members of the older races. They all went out past the edge of the galaxy. They kind of let the younger races take care of things from here on out. The Borlons and the Shadows stayed behind to kind of guide the younger races. But they like I said, their philosophies diverged to the point where they became at odds with each other. And basically started using the younger races as proxy soldiers, which I thought was really pretty cool. The Shadows had a idea of just absolute obedience to them, but they had not absolute obedience. And they believed that that only the strong should survive. But then the Borlons believed in cooperation between the races, but only under their own auspices. They became
both of them ultimately do as we're told, or you're dead. The
Borlons. Yeah, they became like toxic parents that were kind of control freaks, whereas the Shadows were more kind of like
ultimate anarchists.
Do what you want. We'll give you the means to do it, but you're gonna have to prove to us that you're strong enough to handle it. Remember that the main question of the Shadows was, "What do you want?" And the main question of the Borlons is, "Who are you?" But when you started saying, we know who we are, we just don't want you, the Borlons kind of got pissed.
Get the hell out of our galaxy.
Yeah, Sheridan finally.
That's one of the best moments in that, though. Yeah, you're just like the fact we don't need you anymore.
Yeah, they basically was like, you're just using us to fight your own war. We're tired of being your puppets. Get out.
Yeah. We don't need you. You're just afraid of the fact that we don't need you anymore. It was like that.
Yeah, the Shadows as as terrifying as their rationale was, they didn't want to wipe everybody out, so they left. The Borlons were like, fine, you kind of got it. You made a point. We're leaving. What is kind of interesting is that how the Shadows there's something the way they did things is kind of reminds me of Destiny, where you have the what was that called? The Hive. They practiced something called the sword logic, which was exactly the same thing, which was a variation of something that this creature called the Witness gave them, which they wanted. It wanted to carve the universe into its own perfect form, and by doing that, races had to fight each other to the point where there would be only one left. It was very like the ultimate Highlander rationale. In the end, there can be only one. I thought it was kind of cool. So other shows would kind of have that level that same kind of inspiration, overarching thing, which a lot of people. That got me thinking. A lot of people, talk about.
Oh, shouldn't do too much thinking, Errol. Gets you a lot of trouble.
With sci-fi, there's a lot of things are actually there's an old saying, there's nothing new under the sun, and with sci-fi, it's never anything that is truly genuinely new that's introduced into the mix. It's all in just how you mix it together. And so with Wild, go ahead.
Something I read years ago where there's only a finite number of plot lines to any story, any genre. So what draws people in is the journey. How do you get from A to B? They know what roughly the story is going to be. So people get invested in the characters. How will they get to the conclusion? We know what the conclusion is roughly because we know what certain genres do and how they approach that plot line. So what you want to create is the situations, the people, the scenarios that people can invest in, because the plot will have been told in some way, in some form, somewhere else.
Yep, absolutely. And that's why I enjoy sci-fi, and I also after reading so much of it, I realized that everything is kind of like derived from everything else, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. The journey is more important. I
think the overarching thing about nearly all sci-fi is it's usually asking the question about what it means to be human. What does it mean to be human?
Also, where are we going as humanity? How do we deal with it? But it all is still involving the human element.
What makes us special? What makes us who we are? And that's the questions it asks. And nearly all sci-fi asks that, even the bad sci-fi. It's all that overarching thing. And I think even Wild Space Saga is that same sort of thing. In not necessarily the actual being a human as in the species human, but what we consider human in who we are as people, what makes you human in how you act, how you think, how you behave. That can still be human even if you're not physically human.
Yeah, the Felians, for one thing, they're a race that avoided a lot of the pitfalls that the human race had because they had a race guiding them. And so you see, something of, what could have, been, because like the Felians have all along, they've had more advanced technology than humans. And then when the human race nearly destroyed itself in a war, it scared the Felians so bad that they basically said, no, we're not giving you our technology anymore. With the exception of this one world, because we were just trying to they were a charity case. But even they can't dig into it because they made like things to lock them out. But
DRM,
that's some of the airtight DRM you ever see. But what I'm trying to say is this: it scared them so bad that they for a time really limited themselves in how what they share with us. They still didn't have a problem with sharing their bodies with humans, but
well, that's because they know you love that furry action, so they're still going to go ahead with that.
You see, I said this to try to prevent you from trying to say something to me, but you did it anyway. But as I was saying, they had no problem with sharing themselves with humans, but their technology, they were hands off for a time because they were a race that didn't have a problem with fighting each other endlessly. And thank you, man. So
putting Brandon off his stride is what I'm best at, and I will lean into it every time.
Yeah, as he likes to tell me, I like to take the piss. So,
I do like to take the piss.
Yeah, and so,
I just can't do the American accent as easily. Comes off like some angry businessman.
So as I was saying, with the Fellions, you do see kind of an outside looking in. It's about it is still about the human condition. Fellions they get along well with each other, and I think I need to lean into that more when I'm doing some writing involving how Fellions interact with humans, and I'm going to try to keep that in mind when I get to doing some of that. But yeah, and then of course, it also is just us putting a lot of things that we love into the stories, putting a threat, an extinction level threat to the human race. I mean, Terry's a huge fan of Warhammer 40K. I'm just one of the ones that actually kind of enjoys the lore as a casual.
Let's grow up with it, though. I mean, I've been involved in that hobby for about 35 years.
Yeah. And so he if you're gonna talk to things that get really, really grimdark, which we do kind of touch on with what is awaiting on the horizon with Wild Space Saga. We have Terry here, who's a really big fan of Warhammer 40K and really that kind of thing. Now he's more of a person who has his models are like the Imperium, but you get it also talking about the threats to humankind, and almost all of them are extinction level threats, especially the Tyranids. Our threat is not exactly like the Tyranids, but
you've broken up, B. I don't know what you said just then.
Sorry, I was just talking about when you're dealing with it, like Wild Space Saga deals with extinction level threats to humanity, and you see that in Warhammer with the Tyranids.
You're frozen on my end.
Uh-oh. Looks like I'm hoping that it's not that our connection's not telling us to get off. I don't see you freezing up on your end, so
no, it's only you've frozen up my end, and you're sounding very much like Stephen Hawking.
Let me see. I don't have anything else open. Just a moment. Hell of a time for it to actually start doing that.
I know, just in the middle of talking about. I'm going to assume when you talk about an alien race, you're talking about the Tyranids.
Yeah, I was talking about Tyranids. Am I still sounding bad?
No, you've unfrozen at last. You were like this, and it was very disturbing to stare at. But no, you're back now. You're back on my end. But yeah, I'll just assume you're talking about the Nids.
Yeah.
Well, because they just consume.
Yeah. And I was saying that Wild Space Saga touches on those extinction level events things in a way that Warhammer 40K does. Again, something that we kind of things that we love, we put in into the stories. Like,
yeah, because obviously we want to hold back some mystery, but the whole point is what's coming. As I've said in the past, humanity is not prepared for, not currently. And obviously, that's what the other race, the Volitions, are trying to do. Say, we need you to get back on the wagon. You were advanced, you were powerful, you had some incredible technology, and you threw it all away fighting amongst yourselves.
Threw it all away for a hot dog and a crisp 20.
Well, sometimes I'll throw it all away for a packet of Monster Munch and promise of a call in the morning.
Yeah.
Someone said that to me once about, do you have a man crush? And I said, it's probably The Rock. And I said, what, for $1 million? I said, come on, it's The Rock. I said, I'll do it for a pack of pickled onion Monster Munch and promise of a call in the morning. And
yeah, the human race in this case kind of threw their technological advantage away for it's good to be the king. That's pretty much how I think would describe the Imperium Wars in a nutshell. It's good to be the king.
We've got the destructive shot, and I want an excuse to use it.
Yep, that too. All these meat toys. Let's say that was the excuse for World War I, if memory serves. All these meat toys, and we would just want to use them. They did.
It wouldn't surprise me. So but that's a politics thing that we shall avoid.
Oh Lord. Okay. Well, anyway, guys, it's getting close to that time. So
Yeah, Brandon can't handle more than an hour. What happens is he starts to melt slowly. You see,
totally handle more than an hour, but I also got a lot of things to do. My
he
parents,
slowly starts to dissolve, and what
my,
you don't realise is that after an hour, he's slowly de-rezzing. So you know, his feet have already gone.
You can only last.
He's down to his knees now. So what happens? He has to shuffle off on his knees till they sort of regrow.
Anyway, but seriously though, my like this weekend, my parents are out and they asked me to take care of the puppy.
And what you don't realise, he's only sitting in his underpants there.
I kind of wish I had brought him with me, but the problem is he's.
What, your underpants? You mean your commando on that chair? Ooh, why don't you put a towel down?
Yeah, I want to see. No, seriously. Well, no, I was saying is that my parents, I kind of have a dog to take care of. My parents are out, went to Galveston, and so they have me taking care of the doggo. And I kind of wish I brought him with me, but as he is a miniature schnauzer, he is liable to bark a lot. And so, I didn't want to keep being interrupted by him, and he wouldn't want to stick around in this room, and he'd just be whining because he couldn't come to the door, and he just wanted to, he's a diva. He wants to be the center of attention. So now I kind of left him at their place right now and kind of slunk back home to do our little live stream. I wish I could have just brought my computer with me, but I was busy the last few days. Also hadn't been feeling well these last few days, and so I mean, trust me, it's so bad that I almost went to the hospital, but I'm actually starting to feel a lot better. Thank God. Ugh, that scared the ever-loving crap out of me. Anyway, all that aside, though, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up for the day, ladies and gentlemen. Please
Roots, this is one of my upcoming songs. You might have seen that I've done my little... I did one on the White Akira, one on the Coven, one set of songs. This upcoming one is the Pirate Clans. This is Iri, the Pirate King. This is going to be his theme when I post it onto YouTube.
Just got to give you a fair warning, everyone. The Pirate Clan song is going to be rated R.
Oh dear. This is what I have to work with.
Yeah, I could
miles apart.
But yeah, the sci-fi eel still.
Yeah, so there'll be one about Iri here. Obviously, his Mrs. Alexa. There was a duet I put on here when we first started the channel about them. So they'll have their individual songs, and then they each have a bodyguard character. One called Indira, one called Sister Serenity. They'll have their own tunes. And then the person that they actually had to take down, who usurped the throne, Montera, has his own tune as well in this sequence.
By the way, I'm working on some drawings of based on the things that you gave me through ChatGPT. I'm revamping some of the designs for Sister Serenity and whatnot. Sister Serenity is kind of hard to do because of so much of that metal aesthetic you got that's going on through all the.
She's an armored nun, basically.
But it's really cool. And have you posted those on your Instagram?
Not yet, no, because it's all going to be part of the sequence with the songs. All right. It all goes up together once I get all this ordered and put together.
And speaking of the Insta, please, ladies and gentlemen, we really hope you will go ahead and follow him on the Instagram. We have a lot of really cool stuff that he puts out involving Wild Space Saga. It is a lot of AI generated stuff, but what it is derived from our concepts for the story. We have our own artwork on DeviantArt if you just want regular art, and that's really cool. We thank you for following us on that, and of course on X where I post a lot of previews and stuff for our regular artists and also for the AI.
I will say there's a lot of people have issues where, because an AI art generator tends to take a lot from obviously the internet and stuff like that. I've actually been training it on our artwork and then telling it what style I want.
Same thing for me when I do things using AI, which I tend to use for advertising purposes. We use our own artwork and just have it rendered in a more professional manner. So
it'll take our artwork and I tell it I want it photo real, so then it'll generate the photo real from what we've trained it. So I know it's not perfect and people still have their issues with it, but I'd rather say yes, we have actually been using our own artwork to train it.
Yeah. Okay, and so yeah, for those of you who are interested in all that, we do have the links down in doobly doo. For Instagram, it's Wild Space Saga with an AI.
Just generally, if you think it's crap, like it anyway, so I get exposure. That's the way I look at it.
That's yeah,
Just
and
like stuff.
and I've been doing a lot more things on X, also making previews of stuff before I even release it on our artwork, before I even release it on DeviantArt. And I'm also going to start putting a few more of the music, the music and the artwork on to show through X to give some previews, so people can go and check it out on the Instagram page. We're going to have everything kind of interlinked that way. We also do have a Facebook page, and I would like to see more people join in. That way, I can actually start posting more things there. And this is simply Wild Space Saga. You'll be able to find that.
Post things there, and people may come.
Okay. Well,
I will also say with this music, though I use Suno for the songs, I do actually write the words.
Yep, and I really do like that
every week, because I don't know if people believe me or not.
Well, he's more musically inclined than I am. I have a good musical ear. I'm good at singing, but writing my own songs, not so much. So, in writing wise, man, you got a leg up on me in that regard.
Mind you, I've had a lot of these in my head for years, so that's why I've been able to produce so many so quickly.
Awesome. Okay, well, and just a reminder, everyone, May 23rd is when our third book, Twisted Faith, comes out. You can pick that up on Amazon.
I've got the right finger this time. Put it back up.
Huh? Oh.
There. Look. I've got the right finger this time.
Available on Amazon and other booksellers. And so I think that is it for today, everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. For those of you coming in after the fact, thank you very much for checking out our live stream, even though you weren't here live. But if you want to come here live, we do answer questions in the chat area. We love it. That is what we
appreciate. Spin and Captain Root, our regulars.
Yep, excellent. And hope we've got more of y'all coming after the fact. And so until the next time, everyone, thank you. This is Brandon Hill and Terrence Pegasus. Hoping you will join us next time on the Northwest Passage. See you and take care, and stay lucky and stay blessed. Take care.
See you later, boys.